All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the episode 4 of the After Zero podcast. I fucked that up real bad. I meant to say, welcome to the After Zero podcast, episode
Just
4.
just restart. Just restart it.
No. We'll just keep at it. We'll keep at it. Fuck it.
All right. We're
It's a
rolling.
one take wonder, baby. Let's go.
You're not a one take
We
Andy
back.
if you messed up the first take.
We.
Just to be
Oh,
clear.
okay. Well, we back. Hello. So I didn't watch last episode's podcast, so you guys are gonna have to catch me up on some of the things from what happened.
Okay. I mean, yeah. There's a couple different things that happened,
Did he just say last episode's podcast?
bro. Listen.
He just
Listen.
Wait, what did I
listen.
say?
Hold on, man. Listen. Hold on. Listen. ESL is a pain in the ass. You know, English second language. It'd be killing folks out here. You know what I mean? So.
English is my third language.
All right. ETL then. ETL.
So what were our major topics? We talked about G2 and Andrew, the G2. What was the CEO or coach? What was it?
CEO.
CEO and hanging out with Andrew Tate. Shit, I kind of forgot what we talked about. What are the other topics we hit? Oh, Rohan God and his league ranks
We
or
talked
his
about
Riot
league
ranks.
ranks. Mhm.
He's the top rank in every Riot game.
Oh yeah, I saw that dude's TikTok. That was fucking crazy. He's trying to get all like high level or
He
high
didn't
rank
try.
in
He
everything.
didn't try.
He did it.
Did.
I think it took him like a year and a half, 2 years. I think.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
like the time frame.
he's trying for TFT right now, isn't he?
He got it.
He's done it. Like he's
Oh,
got
what the
highest
fuck? Oh,
rank
he
in all
actually
of it.
got it? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we talked about that. There was some other Twitch drama we were talking about.
We also, well, I don't know what we got to exactly. I could look at my notes, but one of the things we talked about was that it wasn't Twitch drama necessarily, but it was like the GTA leak. And then we also talked about
GTA leak.
Yeah,
GTA 6 got leaked. This motherfucker's behind on every account.
Did you
behind
like,
on the podcast, behind on the podcast, all that.
No, I have been sitting in a
they're like alpha footage was leaked for
we
like
also,
an hour and a half worth.
We also talked about like a little bit about gaming culture generally and like kind of how the masses look at rank as status when we're talking about Rohan God. And we also talked about the Cyberpunk 2077.
2077,
yeah, how that Netflix show boosted Cyberpunk's numbers tremendously.
Now everyone's loving Cyberpunk.
They're all steady. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, yeah.
So it jumps from like 16,000 players to I think it was 80,000.
Yeah, it was a very
within the release day of the anime. And everyone says the anime is just as amazing as like, comparing it to like Arcane and League. So everyone's back on the Cyberpunk hype train.
So we're just talking about like the effect of, you know how like episode 1 and 2 we kind of talked about the effect of marketing in esports and how that is kind of changing, or not in esports but in video game culture as a whole, how that's changing the landscape for how companies approach their game and how they market them, and like how it might change the future. So that's kind of what we talked about. And funny enough, there's actually another story with that this week that kind of happened. So there's two. So first and foremost, on the NFL game for the Broncos and the 49ers, Dr. Disrespect was part of their hype video. So he in the beginning like opens it up talking about like the Champions Club and shit. So that's super dope. That kind of breakthrough, like I said, seeing that integration, I'm interested.
Also dope because his Champions Club, like he always shows the locker room and shit, like going through the stadium and all that.
Yeah, I remember seeing it and I was like, was that fucking Dr. Disrespect? Because we watched the 49ers game, and I was like,
I would never expect that.
And then the other thing with like I said, how gaming's evolving and content creation and all that. You had Donkey, who started his own publishing company. So those were some pretty big ways, those integrations. Like every week, it seems like there's new stories of how gamers or content creators or gaming companies are getting more towards like mainstream type of media or mainstream companies, things of that nature. So
also
I think that's
interesting with that production, or not the production, the publishing company. Like just the reputation that Donkey has, and how everyone holds him in such high regards. Because more times than not, everyone agrees with his takes on games. So now it's like, now when he puts his print on something, it's gonna have meaning, and also like the impact of the first print that he puts his name on, and whether that game's actually good or shit will like I want to see what that actually comes out like. What comes out of that?
Yeah, what's the reputation of his publishing company and his brand? Because for people who don't know, Donkey's a YouTuber who does game reviews. Pretty much any game under the sun, indie games, AAA games, whatever. He plays them, he makes videos about them, and he gives them a review, and he has pretty honest criticisms in regards to like graphics, storytelling, shit like that, how buggy it is. He's pretty revered in gaming culture of like having good opinions, of knowing what games are good, knowing what makes a good game. And he released that he's going to have his own publishing company to be able to facilitate his own push for games, because he's been huge on certain indie games like Celeste, for an example. He's like one of the big first people to get on that. That video has like 7 million views, and that's an indie game.
Well, I think all his review videos now, like they're breaking the million.
They average over 1 million every time. It's actually closer to like 2 or 3. So I mean, his impact on indie games as a whole is huge. And then he just mentions like why he's qualified. He's like, dude, I've played like every game under the sun. I've reviewed every game. Mm-hmm. I know what a good game looks like, you know? So I think it'll be super cool to see once he actually gets the ball rolling. I wonder how long this is going to take, like when they're going to pick up their first client, who's going to be the first game.
It is specifically indie game publishing company. I do want to put that out there. It's specifically indie games. So it's kind of like what OTK, or in a way, what OTK did with their thing, where they held the event for the indie gamers.
Yeah, they had like the indie game expo with like the trying to like do like 20 of the best indie games coming up or something.
And then like you know, providing essentially a donation for those publishers for whoever won it.
They just established them a platform, which is like the biggest part of gaming publishing companies now.
It seems that's what all the the content creators, when they first break into like past content creating, now you're developing a company that's either publishing or creating a team, is like you first jump into indie game developers and supporting them, which is really interesting to see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, because I remember watching Donkey videos and he only played fucking League, and that's why I know him. Because it was just his fucking League videos, and then he ended up like quitting League because of that one situation that he had.
Then he got banned where he told someone it's like a scumfuck pile of trash, and he wanted them.
Yeah. Now he's just like a fucking. Now he's publishing like games and criticizing them and stuff, and like reviewing them. That's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's super dope to see it, and like I said, just the evolution of how gaming culture is going. We're gonna start seeing that, and I mean, content creation as a whole.
I need to adjust my camera.
Jeez, motherfucker.
Bye.
Oh, God.
But damn, bro,
technical difficulties.
The camera that I have, it has the hook thing for the camera. It doesn't properly like fully grasp.
That's okay. We'll wait. We'll wait. It's fine.
It's fine. Keep talking. Keep talking.
No, it's fine. We'll wait.
I got you. Here you go.
This motherfucker looks like he's about to go vlogging.
This is behind the camera for each of us, and it's just Brandon.
He's out here doing like a Jadeon video. But like I said, just the evolution of how that's looking. Content creation as a whole is breaking into legitimate business, right? You have people like, there's a YouTuber, I forgot his name. He has a car trading company where you can buy cars online. Yeah. You have people like Mr. Beast with Mr. Beast Burger, right? Feastables. His two companies are very well known. You have a bunch of
Feastables. I don't know about that one.
It's chocolate. I've given you some.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that was like.
But what's cool about that is now it's in every Walmart in America. Feastables are in every single Walmart in America. So it's not just an online product, and it's not like a half-assed product. It's a real product. Same thing with Mr. Beast Burger. They opened up a Mr. Beast Burger physical location in New Jersey, and they had over 10,000 people waiting in line, and they set the single day record for burgers sold, basically. So, like I said, content creation is having actual companies now, and that's how you're seeing like this stuff evolve. People are making actual companies. They're actually making different revenue streams. There's a pretty good video from Colin and Samir. They interview content creators and kind of like their process, their come up, what things they struggled with, how they go about making videos or stuff like that. And they actually have a video breaking down like content creators, different products that they've come out with or different companies. So that's how I heard about the car thing, because they bought a car from his website. Because that was the thing, is they're going to try every content creator's products and review it. Yeah, and they reviewed it. And they bought a car from him. So yeah, it actually ran and everything. It got shipped out to them. So like I said, content creation is becoming a legitimate business of other actual businesses. It's not just making a video.
It's actually interesting where content creation is going right now too, with like the whole Twitch drama and everything. It's like really interesting to see how much like behind the scenes shit is going on right now that is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting.
Or behind the scenes things that shouldn't be coming out.
That shouldn't be coming out too. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's a problem that things are coming out. I think it's people are coming in. I mean, what?
It's not the going I'm worrying about. It's the coming.
Yeah, but it's like I wonder how much more shit there is, because I remember Offline TV talked about how they want to express some stuff too. Like it was like a while ago, maybe like 3 years ago. They were like, "Oh yeah, we have a lot of shit that we want to talk about, but we shouldn't." And so I wonder if there's gonna be more shit that comes out within these next few weeks.
Well, what's crazy is that it's crazy about this Twitch drama is that it's multifaceted. There's the Twitch drama of like Slicker scamming friends, other streamers, and just like fans for over $300,000 because of his gambling addiction. Right. And he wasn't even gambling on stream. Like, what a fucking idiot.
Yeah, like,
Stakes paying, dude. Stake is like rumored to pay Aiden Ross over 8 figures a month.
Because he wanted that story, because it's like he kept asking people for money, right? And it's like, I'm gonna pay you back essentially tenfold. I mean, he wasn't saying that every time, but that was his whole plan, right? Is to pay you back. So you're basically investing in him. And it's like, imagine how different the story would be if this dude like actually hit.
I mean, I don't think that's the thing though, because I don't think that would even be a story, because the problem was like the addiction of it.
So no matter what happened, how different it would have been.
But the story would like never. The story would like never have been that way, because he would have never won, because there's no winning in that cycle. You know what I mean? This is the only thing that breaks the cycle, is getting exposed for doing it. And like that, because at the end of the day, he hits big, right? You really think he's going to pay everyone back? Highly doubtful. You know what I mean? Because that's why he kept asking for money. It was over the course of 2 years.
Right.
So even if he hit the fucking lottery, these guys aren't getting their money back.
It sounds like a fucking skill diff to me, honestly.
Shut the fuck. Yeah, it's crazy how all of this is coming out with like Slicker, and at the same time, the whole thing happened with like Shit Camp. Is it Shit Camp or is it
Shit Camp? With like, it's not just that. It's like Shit Camp, and then you have like XQC arguing his girlfriend on stream, where you have people questioning like what's too far for content. And then you have like, so it's not just behind the scenes shit. It's like some of this shit's on the front page. This is one of the biggest streamers in the world who concurrently had 120,000 viewers and was like arguing his relationship with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now, I guess.
Well, that's because he spends all the time on stream.
But and then he's like, "Who are you to tell me what I can and can't do on stream?" And it's like, I hear him, but it's like, damn, is that really like? Why is that even allowed? Like, why do people want to see that shit?
Yeah, the reason why I brought up Shit Camp. Yeah, the reason why I brought up Shit Camp is because a lot of what started is because of Shit Camp, because of like XQC not wanting to go, because Soda Poppin didn't want to go, and then all that shit just started adding up to like more like other things coming out.
Yeah,
with like XQC
and everyone getting salty with each other and calling each other out on their bullshit.
And then you had like Trainwrecks with the whole like Twitch banning gambling. Trainwrecks was like, "Oh, you're a fucking hypocrite, Mizkif," and he throws Mizkif under the bus for like protecting some sexual assaulter who's like his best friend. So there's just like content creators from all across the board bringing up different shit, all in the same week, basically. And on top of that, what was the craziest one to me on like the biggest scandal? It's not even the biggest scandal, but I feel like it's the weirdest one, while simultaneously being the biggest in its ecosystem. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's do you hear about the chess drama? There's chess drama.
Oh, dude. Okay, I wanted to bring that up too. Especially because I don't
know if you know the magnitude, because I don't know if you guys like play chess or keep up with chess, but Magnus Carlsen is arguably the best chess player of all time. Literally the best chess player of all time, arguably.
For like, isn't it like going on 10 years now?
It's over 10 years, since for a while. And he's playing this 19-year-old grandmaster who, even at like Grandmaster, there's levels to the fucking game. Like number 1 versus number 5 in the world in chess is a big gap because the difference between Magnus Carlsen and like Hikaru, as an example, a large creator for TSM who plays chess, like there's a large gap there.
I was like, he's probably the biggest creator for chess, I think. Right
now. Definitely the most popular. But Magnus Carlsen accused a 19-year-old GM from the United States of cheating because his over the table play, because there's online play, there's over the table play. Hans Niemann is his name, and Hans is a known cheater. He's cheated online and admitted to it.
What?
That's part of the drama, is he's cheated online before, right? And he played Magnus Carlsen. He got really good out of nowhere. And he's essentially, whenever you're playing white in chess, you go first. You have a distinct advantage for the most part because you've moved first. There's an advantage there. He's playing black position in a manner that only a handful of players can play, Magnus included. And he's just not one of those players. And on top of that, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I think what it was is he made like Magnus basically forfeited the match in 5 moves. And
that's the drama portion, but I'm saying more of what made the drama occur is that on top of that, Hans Niemann like couldn't explain his moves. He couldn't explain why he did the moves. He couldn't explain his moves. So if you look at any chess stream from any player that's like master or above, right? A very highly rated player or an international master, they can play chess blindfolded for the most part.
They show their work.
They know every move that they made, and they'll tell you why they made it. They can literally recollect. Magnus Carlsen, there's interviews, he's like, you played this person here. He's like, oh yeah, knight to g4, the pawn went to b2, and like recites the whole fucking list of moves.
They're on the Sherlock Holmes shit where they're playing a chess match while fighting each other in real life.
Exactly, they're at that level.
It's like that math class and like math teacher when you know the answer, but they're like, show your fucking work.
Yeah, and then they come up with the receipts. Like,
and he was like, so it's funny because chess has like lines, because like the way chess players like study certain openings, for an example. So this piece moves here, this piece moves here. What do you do? This is how you can play this based off what they play, right? So they study, and then after you get to a certain point, it's all about game knowledge and like game sense, so to speak. Hans essentially played. Magnus came out with like a fucking bonkers ass opening, and Hans knew how to play against it perfectly. And his post game interview, he was like, "Oh, I studied that line," and everyone's like, why the fuck would you study that line? That makes no sense. Like, you would never do that unless someone tipped him off, essentially.
Well, I think the movements were also compared like 1-to-1 ratio to an AI bot playing at 100%.
Exactly, and that was the other thing. He's playing perfectly. And the thing is that chess bots play a certain way. Like, bots play as like there's very highly rated bots that play a certain way, because they have played millions of games of chess. Like, it's like machine learning. They've played millions of games and they've learned like the different things and like how to set everything up. And the human just can't keep up with that. So there's bots.
Didn't the CEO of chess also come out and say that like their whole message was essentially like, this isn't over. Like, we know that there's shit going on here, and this isn't the end of it.
Yeah, it was like the CEO of chess.com is what you're referring to.
Yeah. My question is, how the fuck do you cheat and over
that's what we're explaining, though. It's
that's
like
the drama.
So there's a couple different ways. It's no different than how does someone cheat at blackjack at a blackjack table, right? So there's things that can be in your shoe. There's like devices that can like tap you, like stuff like that. Like for an example, like let's say you have a 2-prong system. And if it's a letter, it's going to do this, right? So A, B, like, 3 times a C, so on and so forth. And then multiple tasks for like the actual spot. So you would just like know. So there's ways that people have done it in the past. And the security at these chess events isn't that crazy. Like, they do like check what the players have on them, and they do all that kind of stuff. But there was like a woman who got accused a couple years back because she had like lipstick. So like, and they were worried she had it because she played so well at this tournament. There were concerns that she had, like, her opponents accused her of having some sort of computation device built into her pen or her lipstick, I mean. So there's been chess scandals before.
Cheaters leave nothing off the table, dude.
Yeah, it's just like there's been cheating scandals before, but it's not to this magnitude.
Have you ever seen 21? The movie, about the gambling movie.
21? No, I don't think
Oh,
It's
so.
a
never
You
it's a
know
mind.
me, I
movie
don't
it's
watch
a movie
movies.
about card counters, but that's not pertinent because card counters
What?
not cheating.
Well, no.
No,
But no,
I know there was
I'm
another.
saying how they use tells. It's
Yeah.
there's nothing off the table. There can be like literally any number of things that could possibly be a tell to someone how they're using it, or have
Yeah, I
other
mean,
people in
I
on it.
I remember there was like a whole like thing about poker, and there was like possible cheating, like casinos cheating and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
This is what
there's
I saw from a movie, but like digitals,
Well, I
like
mean,
fucking
casinos in general,
yeah,
yeah, everything's rigged for the
I
casino.
mean
What do you mean?
casinos
Like,
are a
yeah,
scam, so
yeah, like
they're
they're
cheating
rigged
they're
for the
cheating off
casino.
rip. Yeah, they're
But
already
I just
cheating.
never thought they could cheat at like something simple as poker, like blackjack. You know, like those are like just odds.
Dude,
Dude,
But
someone
I didn't
cheated.
know.
Dude, someone cheated in Do You Want to Be a Millionaire? You know the game show where they
Brandon,
give you a question, you have 4 answers?
Okay.
Someone cheated in that. Like
Yeah. Well, no. What I'm saying is like I didn't know casinos could cheat. Like I know players can cheat because they like hide cards and stuff, but I didn't know casinos could actually like change up the cards and stuff. Like that
well, I
was never
mean,
knowledgeable to me.
I guess they're not supposed to, but I mean, yeah, I could see
right,
them doing
I was gonna
it.
say
But they
it's
can.
not
But
the
they
right
can. I
thing
just
to
never.
do, but
Yeah, that's why I was just like,
I don't
what?
even know how you would audit that either. Like, and
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
enough
what.
about. I don't know enough about table games to know that.
like
Yeah.
cheaters, they find a way. It don't matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
like
to them.
I understand like if you have like cards under your sleeves or shit, or like you fucking switch cards for
That's ground
casinos.
floor, Brandon. You're on the
That,
ground
yeah,
floor with that.
that's ground floor. That's rookie shit, bro.
Okay, ground floor.
That's like 16th century 3-card Monty shit, bro.
Not bad, not bad. Not bad.
No, but I do have a question for you guys in regards to the whole chess scandal thing because, like you mentioned, Quakers, the actual drama surrounding it was the fact that while they're playing, Magnus basically was tipped based off Hans's like reactions to him. He wasn't worried about positions that he should be worried about. He was never tense and he was never focused on the game. And like he's played him before, so he knows how he plays. He knows what he looks like. And so he's like, this guy's fucking acting weird and he's playing exceptionally. He's playing perfect, to be specific, right? But he forfeit the game that they were in after like about 5 moves, and then he played him again later and forfeit again, like immediately. And the question I have for you guys is in regards to like, what's your stance on that? Because currently, Magnus put out a statement saying that he believes he's cheating and that he thinks that cheating needs to be taken seriously, especially from someone who's a known cheater, who has admitted to cheating. He believes he's cheated far more than he states. And so, what's your stance on that? Because if Magnus, the world champion, like best chess player of all time, you want him at a chess tournament, right? That's what brings in sponsors, that's what brings in money, that's what brings in players. But if he's going to forfeit every time against Hans Niemann, it's very bad look for the chess organizers, right? They don't like that. They think it's like a stain on their reputation in their eyes, you know, because chess is very like hoity-toity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what your thoughts are, because do you think that that's like a fair thing for Magnus to do? Do you think it's fair? Like, because at this point, it's almost like they have to choose between inviting Hans Niemann or inviting Magnus. So it's like to a point where Magnus is using his position to almost strong arm Hans out of tournaments, but there's no concrete evidence. I'm curious what you guys think about that.
I mean, my stance on it is without the concrete evidence, like if you feel so strong about him cheating that way, then I feel like if you would have played the game out, it would have been a better way to show what exactly is going on instead of like the 5 moves that you yourself as the best player in the world, you have an idea of what's going on, but everyone else involved probably does not.
Well, I mean, to be clear, his audience would be like the chessboard, so people who are GMs, ex-GMs, people who know the game. But
Right.
but what I was gonna say was
it's like, opening the what the fuck? What am I trying to say? Because it's
opening
such
the
a small.
floodgates.
No, not
I'm trying to
opening the
say.
floodgates. The sample size essentially
Yeah.
of like to review. Like,
well, I mean,
like
but
play the game out.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, they did play a full game for the most part. Like this was he forfeit through a match. They didn't play the whole game, but he did forfeit during a match. And by the way, he was on a no loss streak of about 53. So he didn't win 53 games in a row, but he didn't lose in 53 games because there's a lot of ways to tie in chess, right? So,
Right.
so I mean, what do you think, Brandon? Do you think it's fair for him
I
to like
mean,
strong arm in that way, or like, do you think he approached it right? How would you approach it?
I don't think I would have approached it publicly. I would have just
Mm.
went to the board members and been like, "Hey, I think this guy's cheating. Like, could we figure some way to get evidence before we publicly publish that he's possibly cheating?"
Yeah, I think
But
it's. Yeah, I could totally see what you mean.
but I don't know. It's still like hard to think about how people could possibly cheat in a simple game as chess, considering like
It's like,
I didn't. Bro, I don't know, man. Like, why the
Yo,
fuck did you cheat in chess?
so
Like,
Valorant's up here for Brandon, chess for Brandon's just not even there.
yeah, it's not even there. Like, it's like the same thing as poker. It's like, I didn't know you could cheat in poker, but obviously you can. You know, like
you can cheat at anything, bro. But I hear what you mean. I mean, so the thing with that is, I think it's been brought up before, but it's like nothing's being done about it. So we made it public, so that like almost forcing, because he's the world champion. You know what I mean? He has that position and title
well,
to where
I think.
I do have a
Go ahead.
question though. Is like, how often do people in those higher skill levels forfeit in a match? That is my question.
you only
Do
forfeit
they
if
just
you're
play?
you only forfeit if you're already losing and you have a like a position that you can't win.
Yeah. So if like someone is like the best of the best and they look at this person, they're like, yeah, no, I'm losing to this person. Like this guy's like the fucking best, and then forfeits. It's already kind of sus because if
I
you're
wouldn't.
going against the
It
best,
depends on the position. Like for an example, let's say you're playing Valorant, right? You have just an op. There's 5 people alive. They have every flash and every smoke in the fucking game, and you're down a round, and they need one more round to win or whatever. And let's say you have 5 rounds. Your team's only won 5. They've won 11 rounds, and you have an op. You're the last person left alive, and they have every utility left in the book. Like you're just gonna kill yourself at that point in the game, right?
yeah,
That's kind of how I see it. Like with chess, they like it's like okay, I'm never gonna win this game. I'll forfeit. So it's not always sus. It's more of like when he forfeit. He essentially forfeit. The game was 5-5. He forfeit.
right.
Which is
That's
why
what
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I think in general, when it comes to like just cheating, like just off of if it comes to cheating and like the organizers themselves aren't taking it seriously, and this is what you have to do as a player to get the attention that it needs, then I'm on that side of it because
Yeah.
cheating in general, like that shit shouldn't fly no matter what. And like you said, this person, like I don't know the whole story, I don't know 100% of it, but you said this person's a known cheater. And I mean, of course, you can't necessarily go off of body language and all this stuff, but like, it's still something that should be taken seriously and looked into.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things too is that like he mentions that he's not gonna say anything further until Neiman says something. So he's like, I'm not gonna
Oh, dude, I saw
comment
that
further
too.
until Neiman comments, because I think he's concerned over like the legality of it all, right? Because if you accuse someone of cheating, they blackball him from multiple events he could have won money at. Like he has a legal case against you. So I think that's where the concern lied, because it's
when
also
you brought that up, I remember the wording. And sorry, go ahead, keep going. I'll bring it up after.
I have it pulled up. I can read it for you.
What was that the
Chris-
wording that was used? Because he said something like I think he said it like approved by Neiman.
Yeah, so he said, unfortunately, this time I'm limited in what I can say without explicit permission from Neiman to speak openly.
That's interesting right there.
So I think he has an inkling of what he's doing, but he can't make like wild baseless accusations. And I think he wants Neiman to say like, okay, well, let out whatever, say whatever you want to say. Because Neiman's been kind of like clapping back towards like Hikaru and shit, like saying that people are just following Magnus's word and basically saying shit like that. So,
Chris, the reason why I was laughing earlier is because like you know how I was saying like I didn't know people could cheat in chess, but then we also know people that cheat in board games. That's why I was laughing because I'm just like. That's why I was laughing.
Yeah, there's always ways for people to cheat. I think is the point,
they will
right?
find a way. Every little advantage,
like,
they will find a way.
Cheaters will always find a way to be cheaters. Like they're always gonna find a way to do it. But I just think the chess drama is interesting because although it's like something that doesn't affect 99% of people, it's like one of the biggest scandals of all time for
Huge
chess.
deal.
It's like
Right.
it's literally like the GOAT is saying that this fucking normie is cheating against him.
Right.
And especially in like I said, like a sport that's more like hoity-toity. They're very elitist in their ways. So I just thought it was super interesting.
Are they really calling it the anal bead cheating controversy?
Yeah, because people are like, oh, I bet he has like the butt plug in there and it's sending a signal through his ass. Like,
Yeah, I remember I heard Ludwig talk about it on his other YouTube channel, Mobile
man.
Mail. He was like, what, does he have a fucking anal bead stuck up his ass that vibrates? And I was like, oh my god.
That is fucking amazing.
yeah, like that was like
That
the
would
joke
be
that people went around on
hilarious.
like Reddit and Twitter. They're like, oh yeah, he's doing it because he has anal beads in there, and it's that's how he's sending the signals.
I'm surprised I haven't
Oh
seen
my
that yet.
God.
That is amazing.
I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's the best case scenario. If
Well-
there's one way I want this to end, I want it to be where Neiman's like, guys, I have anal beads in my ass right now.
we
Let's send the
we
signal.
find out he actually has a record where he was in prison for like 10 years and learned
And
all
he
these
just
skills.
learned
Oh
learned
my
how to fucking
God.
what is that called?
The
Keister.
keister,
He
yeah.
learned how to keister. I think that's the best case scenario. That's the way I want this story to end. In a week or like a month when we find out what the story is and like how this ends, I want it to be that he had anal beads and he was
Security
sending the
checks will
signal.
never be the same.
Yeah.
My
Security checks will
God.
never be the
They'd
same.
be like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to
Oh,
open up that. He's like, go ahead and bend over and cough for me.
Getting
Okay.
full on physicals just to do a tournament now.
And just for
Alright,
chess
but
too. That's the wildest part. It's just for chess.
But off this chess thing, I wanted to know. I'm really curious about what you guys think about the G2 and Andrew Tate situation. How you
think
it was handled?
podcast?
No.
Damn
There's
it.
more to the story.
Yeah,
There's more to the story.
yeah. I don't know what you
Actually,
guys
okay,
talked about.
I
though.
missed that
See,
then.
this guy, you can't throw shade if you don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Nah, but
Well, I mean, what more could come from? Did G2 say? Did the G2 coach say?
well, he's the CEO, so it's a
Or
big deal.
CEO, I mean.
to be clear, and like set the right precedent for his impact. Carlos R, who's the CEO of G2 at the time, he is huge in their upbringing. Like he's the reason that they were big. The reason why G2 came from nothing was primarily because of him. So he's the sole reason for their success. G2 would be nothing without them. Okay. He's very revered in the industry. Players love him. Other people love him. Organizations love him, all that. So two things happened. He's blackballed from Riot completely. He is essentially banned from any Riot events or Riot anything. And with that, I don't know if we talked about this, but he cost them, well, there's three things then, because he cost them their VCT spot, their Valorant circuit
Yeah.
spot. He cost them that spot, which is valued at about $10 million. And it's not a spot where you can just buy a spot and be in. You basically have to be selected. It's like an application process. And then Valorant or Riot goes and chooses these teams. So he lost them that spot single-handedly, a spot that they were pretty much guaranteed to get. And on top of that, there was like another team that they were going to buy, and that ended up falling through because they lost that spot. So it affected not just them.
It was XSET.
XSET. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
affected them, it affected XSET, it affected fucking people as well that just needed a pro shot and would have gotten it had they gotten because they basically were like, hey, if we get this VCT spot, we're buying XSET's roster. It's set in stone.
Everyone hates this guy now.
Yeah. No, well, that's what's crazy.
Well,
And G2 basically, okay, he stepped down on his own accord. He made a video saying he was stepping down, but I think that he was it was one of those things of step down or we're firing him,
Right.
essentially is what it came down to.
It
Right?
would make sense.
well, the thing with me is like, yes, Andrew Tate has a very bad reputation with like social media and stuff, but like to judge a guy for hanging out with another dude. But I kind of understand where it's coming from because it leaves
Alright.
a bad taste in people's
Counterpoint.
Counterpoint.
What if it was
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein?
Who the fuck is that?
This motherfucker, bro. The guy who's big into child trafficking, him and Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you know who that is?
You know Jeffrey Dahmer?
Okay, well, let's say, okay, so think about someone who has a literal child sex trade, essentially, right?
Okay.
Is known in
Right.
Hollywood to, like, basically sell children to Hollywood people.
Basically, that kind of
Exposed
person.
for
What
it.
if that was the person?
What if that was the person?
That would create a lot of bad images and bad
So
hits
it's
towards whatever
But I'm
reputation
saying,
that
does
person.
that change your perception? Like, because you said just for hanging out with somebody, that doesn't mean they're a bad person. But it's one thing to hang out with somebody, and then it's like hang out with somebody. Like
Yeah.
when you're partying with somebody versus just like you're at a party and they're there. You know, those are two different things.
Yeah, it's like I was actually in your position, Brandon, and then it's like the way the CEO came back and like said, "You guys aren't gonna judge who my friends are." He's calling Andrew Tate his friend.
Yeah, I don't know if he used that verbiage, but yeah,
Did
he said
he?
like you're not.
I thought he
said
did.
that you're not gonna dictate who I party with. That's where I draw the line. I believe is what he said. I could be wrong, but he said something in that lines. But I was just challenging what you said previously, Brandon. Of like, does it matter who it is? It's like, well, I think it depends on like the offense, but I
Right.
think it does matter. But I don't think the offense is as serious as the example I gave.
Yeah. But, like, what do you guys think of Andrew Tate as a person, though?
I mean,
We went
I
over
think-
that last podcast for sure.
Yeah. So
Okay,
so I
never mind then.
mean, what's it called? I mean,
I'll
overall with this
watch it.
situation, the way that I feel about it is, I feel like it's this approach is okay because of I don't support anything that Andrew Tate represents as a person.
Wait, which thing is okay? What are you referring to? Just to be specific.
The way the impact is like, okay, when I say it's okay, I don't want it to be taken
Well, yeah.
wrongly, but so what I'm saying is, it seems like it's. God, let me try to rearrange my thoughts here. Hold on, so I can get this out properly without making it sound the way I don't want it to sound.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm trying to say is, the approach that's being taken. Not digging myself a grave. No, I don't think so. What's it called?
Just slowly trying to get the words
it-
out,
it-
you know?
It seems like it's okay, like what's happening, because of what Andrew Tate represents as like a person and his views. Because I don't agree with them whatsoever, but the impact of like social media being able to just cut off one person altogether is something that's kind of like, interesting that they all are taking the same stance on this person when it doesn't seem they've ever taken a full stance like this together any other point in time.
I mean, I don't think that's entirely true. I just don't think that a figure has been as polarizing as Andrew Tate has been. Because I would argue that everyone had this same stance with Alex Jones, but Alex Jones' audience was this big. Andrew Tate's audience was fucking huge. It was massive, right? So I don't know if I would agree that that's never happened before. I don't think it's happened on that scale, which is where the difference is.
I think that's probably fair to say. But that's what I like. I don't agree with his agenda at all. So it's kind of like, this is good that this is happening. But the ability of this being able to happen is kind of like interesting to step back and take a look at.
I think it's completely fair. I don't know. I it's like, you're a sexist piece of shit. You should get called out for being a sexist piece of shit. That's kind of how I see it.
Like I said, I don't agree with the stance, so I see this as a good thing that's happening right now.
Yeah,
but the power behind being able to do that with all the platforms.
The only thing I don't agree with is him having to step down. That's completely ludicrous. I 100% am like anti Andrew Tate. I think the dude, like I mentioned before, is just a fucking giant loser. He's a fucking bitch who always goes my Bugatti and all that shit, right? But but seriously, like I really do like, and I think he represents extremely toxic culture in the way that people can perceive women and how they perceive men being superior to other people. So I am 100,000% against any ideology of his. But with that being said, there is no fucking reason he should have been fired. That's ludicrous. Talking about Carlos. There's no fucking reason he should have been fired for that. I think that him doubling down was extremely foolish and stupid. Because I think that should have happened. People were like, wow. Because what we talked about, Brandon, was that they added an all-female Valorant team the same day, and then he's partying with Andrew Tate the same day, later that night. right? And it's like those are two conflicting ideologies, right? And then he's like, "You're not going to tell me who I can and can't party with," or whatever he had said. He doubled down on his decision, right? Again, extremely stupid. But do I think he should have been fired for hanging out with someone who only has bad ideology and accusations? I don't think I agree with that sentiment of like, yeah, he should be fired for that. There's just no way that was the appropriate response.
Would you feel differently if you knew the extent of their like relationship, essentially? Because
No,
as it came up, it was just like we just saw them at a party together, and they were like, they were celebrating together.
I mean, no, I don't think it changes if I knew the extent of their relationship. If they're best friends, I think that does say something about Carlos, but that doesn't mean that he 100,000% agrees with what he's saying. I think everyone has a unique relationship with everyone else. And there's some things that you can ignore because they're not like you don't see it as badly as someone else does. Obviously, Carlos doesn't view Andrew Tate in the same lens I do, but that doesn't mean he agrees with him. You know what I mean? He may think that his ideology isn't dangerous, but I do.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I'm just responding to it. So he may not think that Andrew Tate's like message is dangerous, but I do. But he just may not agree with that sentiment. That doesn't mean he's like, I agree with everything you said. There should not be women in pilots.
Mean he's Andrew Tate.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, I don't think the level of relationship changes to that level, or to that degree. But again, just getting fired over that is ludicrous to me. I do not agree with that.
He made a message that he's stepping down himself.
I think he was forced to. I wholeheartedly do. Yeah, I think that was definitely.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. Like we see this all the time in a lot of organizations.
But at the same time, as much as I don't agree with it, from a business standpoint, I think you have to agree with it in a way. In terms of as a business, how much does that? I guess you just have to like think about how much that harms you moving forward, because Riot took a pretty hard stance against him before that as well. So having that person as your head and having a major gaming company blackball your CEO means he just blackballed your team too. So
I mean, this seems pretty similar to the Blizzard situation, right?
Yeah, it's like one of those things of just like as a business, someone's a flight risk, you got to let them out. It's that simple, Someone is a damage to the brand or can tarnish future relationships and future business endeavors. You either have to be strong enough with your ideologies and with that person that you don't believe that reflects them, or you have to be able to say like, all right, well, they're off the boat, they're gone, and that's what they did.
I agree. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is the Slick, Maya, and Mizkif situation with the cover-up of the sexual assault.
Oh, that story is so silly to me. And I don't mean it's silly like it shouldn't be a thing. It's just so much he said, she said shit. And I don't know what's concrete.
I was about to say the same thing. It sounds like a lot of he said, she said.
Yeah, it's like a he said, she said situation, but I feel like I don't necessarily think they covered it up. I think it was more of like they handled it in their own way and just didn't make it out to be public and exposed. So their friend, their best friend, to be considered a sexual assault person in like, what is it?
I think the word you're just looking for is just like sex offender at that point, because
sex offender, yeah.
Other sexual assaulter, either one. I feel like this is appropriate title.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying what he did is right, but I'm just saying I feel like they tried to solve it their own way.
They tried to solve it internally and not let it come out. I think they thought it wasn't a big deal, which it wasn't as bad as it was made out to be.
Which is pretty commonplace in a group of friends.
Yeah, and that's just Slick being Slick or something. Like he's just like, he doesn't know the lines and it's like laughed off or whatever. But I don't, like I said, it's just so much he said, she said. I hate to even like comment
even try to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think that every person has a voice, right? I think every person should have a voice in sexual assault. But I also think that every person should be able to stand up for themselves in sexual assault. But I also think if you're protecting someone that you know is committing sexual assault, you're a pretty shitty person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Well, that's not in
if
question.
one of my friends was out here
That's not in
touching,
question.
here's the thing: if one of my friends was out here fucking touching titties in someone's sleep, I'd beat the fuck out of them. You fucking weirdo.
We
Yo.
You know what I
we
mean?
wouldn't be friends.
100%.
Like
Yeah, like
Yo.
it's that simple. I'd beat the fuck out of you and I'd leave you on the side of the road and you can go fucking walk home. Like I don't. Yeah, there's just like there's no place for that in my world. So, but at the same time, like I said, it's he said, she said. So that's the only thing I don't like about that story is just how do we know it's the truth? How do we know it's real? You know, I'm not saying it didn't happen. It's just like, how do I know it happened?
it's just we're like just because it came forward, we're not going to just jump to a side without knowing everything, or at least knowing something.
Yeah. Like I said, if he did that shit, he's a fucking pig. And if
Yeah, no.
Mizkif as a major streamer who has a ton of pull in like the streamer ecosystem in Austin, Texas,
and they
covered all that up
friend.
just because it's his best friend, he's probably a bigger piece of shit than his friend is in my eyes. Like,
it's a situation of he's probably accepting it because he's probably done something worse.
Yeah, that's almost how I see it. Like, you think that's acceptable behavior?
Yeah, I mean the same situation almost happened at OTV with Fedmeister.
Oh my fucking god, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because
Fedmeister lived in the house and he was getting drunk, and like touching on some of the women in the OTV house.
And friends, like just the friend group in general.
And so, it would always be like, oh, that's just Fedmeister. Like he's just being, but they didn't like cover it up. They just didn't know he was doing it to everyone. So they thought like, for instance, like the girls that it happened to, or the women that happened to, like Yvonne or like them. Lily, they thought it was like a one-time thing because he didn't do it again to them, or if he did, it was like, oh, I was drunk. Like he's never done this. He doesn't act that way. That's not him, because they knew him personally. So like but that's why I think the other situation's hard, because from that perspective, they protected him because they didn't know that he was doing that to everyone, or that it was commonplace for him, because they thought they knew him. So I can see that in the other situation as well.
Yeah, but the thing with that is they did try to cover it up. It's just really? Fedmeister. Yeah, he just didn't get any better, so they had to like expose him and get him to change.
That's shit you gotta talk about on the spot, man. Like you can't.
But I mean, okay, but they did say they talked about it on the spot. It's just more like, how public does that need to be? Because at the end of the day, if someone's making
I'm not talking about like publicity and stuff. I'm talking about like within your friend group, like that's something that needs to be addressed, and not necessarily covered up, but like, dude, this isn't okay.
Not covered up, but like more of like they were talking to them like
it's like an intervention type of thing. Like, hey, like you're acting this way. Like you may not think this is serious, but this is literally sexual assault. Like this is a crime. You know, like you're causing sexual trauma to multiple women. Like this is an acceptable behavior type of thing. I'm just like marveled at how long it went on without any action, like actually being taken, like full action.
And, well, that seems the same in this case too, right? In regards to like the timeline.
Yeah, that's what I think is like what happened is they had an intervention with Slick, and they had it all figured out. But then it got exposed, and then people are saying like, "Oh, he's a piece of shit. He did this and that." Well, yes, he's a piece of shit, but like you never know if it was resolved or not.
I think the only reason it's such a big deal in this case is like the power dynamics of streaming. Like streaming's not a very large ecosystem in terms of the top, right? And having someone like Mizkif, who's one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, cover something up makes it seem like it's like worse because you have power. He can start and stop people's streaming careers because he's that big. Like if he blackballed somebody or turned his chat against somebody, he essentially could blackball somebody from events, because he also is a part of like OTK. They have events, they have partnerships, right? So he holds a lot of power, and I think the power dynamic is what kind of shifts this one. Whereas like the Fedmeister one, he doesn't have power, right? He's just a part of OTV, he's just there. But in Mizkif's situations, he's like one of the co-founders of OTK, right? He's the biggest streamer in the Austin, Texas group between that whole, like I said, that whole ecosystem. So I think that's why it's different, and why it's so much worse is because you obviously don't understand that you covering up versus like a normie covering it up, so to speak, is different.
Well, it also opens up the door for like things that we were saying, where it's like, what else could he possibly be covering up? What else could possibly be going on? It's like people with a big streamer like that are always looking for those little ends to make, to essentially bring you down, whether it's rightfully so or not. So yeah, I agree with on that point.
Yeah,
I think the power dynamic is just, like I said, the biggest factor of that.
I only brought up Fedmeister because I just got reminded of how almost similar it is.
I just totally forgot about that situation. Like I don't know. I like totally spaced that was an actual thing that happened.
Yeah,
I mean, you got those two. You got Blizzard and G2.
But I respect OTV on how they handled it though. Like they were still like very caring of Fedmeister, even though he did all that shit.
Well, because I think they knew him so well. Like he was somebody they actually like respected and all that, and it was like I don't think they thought it was a reflection of him, but he obviously wasn't controlling himself, and it was like disgusting to see. I think it's almost heartbreaking as a friend. If you have a friend who you love and adore, and he also had like a relationship with Pokimane in a way, like some type of weird relationship. So it's like that's another side of that. So I feel like you think you know somebody, but then they have like this demon, so to speak.
Well, yeah, they're your friend for a reason, and that's the side of them that you want to see and that you want everyone else to see.
Right, and then like this, like I said, these demons come out, and you just aren't ready for them. But one of the go ahead.
Oh no, because I was just gonna say like I saw Fedmeister like come back to streaming recently as well.
Oh really? I didn't know he was. Still
he's been back for a while now.
Or is he by himself?
No, he's not. He's by himself. He's obviously by himself. But like, I mean, obviously some shit happened after the fact that they had an intervention. He was kicked out. He said some more stupid shit that got him even like some worse.
He dug a grave where he was trying to like pass blame. He was literally trying to like not take accountability for his actions. Essentially, like well, it's not like that's how I read it. Like that's what I got from his message. So yeah, he definitely dug his own grave for sure.
Yeah, but watching his stream, I watched it maybe like once or twice to see how he was doing. Because honestly, in my eyes, he was a very good content creator. It seems like he's doing a lot better now. But
so sexual assault doesn't mean anything to you? You don't care if someone's a sexual predator? Just kidding.
Yeah, my bad. Oh,
hey, what's your stream again? So we can cancel you. What was that?
Drunken Korean TV. Won't have my computer till November because
Yeah, and he didn't even make it to the last podcast. Just get him out of here.
Honestly, you're done. You're done. You're done.
you're done. You are not him. You are not him.
But in all seriousness, though, another thing I want to talk about was, there's a lot of crazy things happening in the esports scene or the gaming scene as a whole. But one interesting thing I thought, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this, is games increasing price after over a decade of being priced at $60. You have PS5 and is Xbox One the most recent console? I'm not a fucking shitbox fan.
I think it's Xbox One, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Xbone is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an Xbox fan. Fuck the Xbox. Don't at me. But Xbox One and PS5 games are.
I mean, we're all PC masterclass at this point, dude. You're not even a PlayStation fan, only for exclusives.
No, then I'm a PlayStation fan. What do you mean? I don't understand.
Is it?
I thought it was Xbox One. I don't fucking know.
Honestly,
when the PS4 came out.
Well, I mean, whatever it was, it wasn't on the same level as Sony, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, dude, I think PS5 was in this one.
I don't know what that shit's called. I know the PS5 is the most recent one. I know there's a shit box, all right? I mean, at the end of the day, they're pretty much the same now, but more what I was referring to is just the fact that next-gen console games are going to $70. So, for an example, Gotham Knights and Modern Warfare 2. You can buy them on Steam and whatever launcher Modern Warfare is on. I don't remember.
Battle.net.
Blizzard.
Is it still on Battle.net? I couldn't remember. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's still
on Battle.net. You can get those for $60, but if you want to buy it on PS5, you have to pay $70. Which that's probably the most bizarre thing for me. Like, for me personally,
I'm not separation.
Yes, there's literally just a $10 difference for the console you play on. It's like, oh, was your system only $400? We're gonna get you on the game, so don't worry. We got over time we'll recoup the cost of having a lower price system.
Yeah, because it's crazy because Nintendo, I don't know if other consoles do this, but Nintendo, they increased the price by $10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you buy it like a hard copy of the game, it's still like $10 cheaper. It's like if it's 50, it's like $40.
It's not the
Or if you buy
Xbox
it
One. It's the
digital.
Xbox Series X and Series S.
My God, I've
Right.
never
Ugh.
Series
Right.
bull and
Ugh.
Series shit.
Yeah.
That's what I
Xbox
just heard.
Series
Ugh.
S and the Series X. I don't know which one's which and which one's better, but those are the names.
You know why? Because no one talks about it. Because they're probably shit. So I mean,
Well, I mean, the thing about the console wars, they're not the same as they used to be. Like the consoles are pretty
Yeah.
level. It's just more about what games you want to play. If you want exclusive games and like all your friends are on Sony, you're gonna go PlayStation. But if all your friends are on Xbox or PC,
no,
the most sense
honestly,
is
if this price thing is happening, get off console. Like it sounds like they're just taking advantage of their
Yeah.
crowd.
that's
Yeah, like
ludicrous to me.
like if it's truly on Steam, we're paying $60 and they have to pay $70. They're literally just being taken advantage of.
Literally right now, if you go on Steam and you want to pre-order Gotham Knights, which I'm pretty hype about, I will say,
No,
it's
I'm trusting you.
$59.99. But if you go onto the PlayStation Store, it's $69.99. If you buy it on PS4 though, it's $59.99. So I don't understand that justification of like being on the next gen console, you have to pay $10 extra. I don't understand how that's a model. Like, here's the thing. I know it's gonna work and people are gonna buy it. I just don't understand how people like think that's acceptable.
Yeah,
That's why I was
honestly,
talking about Nintendo.
I honestly
Yeah.
couldn't tell you because, like I said, that sounds like you're taking advantage of a dedicated fan base.
Say the Nintendo thing again, Brandon.
Yeah, that's why I was very like with Nintendo, I understood it because like the hard copy is a lot cheaper than digital copy. So I thought it would be like the same thing with the PS5 where they just kind of increase it to like $70 while the hard
Wait.
copy
You
will
say
still
the
stay
hard
the same.
copy is cheaper than the digital copy?
Yo,
Why?
wait, that hit me too. That hit me
Because
too when he
I
said
don't
that.
I don't know why, but like when I had a Switch, when I would go to Walmart or GameStop, it would always be cheaper to buy a hard copy versus like a digital one.
What
So
games
you
are you
pay.
referring to? Because I've bought multiple games
But
at the same rate.
I've bought Pokemon, I bought
Arceus?
Smash. No, not Arceus. It was
Diamond?
Diamond.
Okay. How much was it?
And at that in the store it was 49.99. In the digital
Am I
shop, it was
tripping?
59.99. No,
That
I I swear to you, the price was different when I looked at the hard copy versus the digital copy in like 2 years ago or a
And
year
you're
ago.
telling
on
me.
this week's podcast, Brandon finds out he's dyslexic.
So you're telling me you pay more to not own the game?
Well, no. I just looked
No,
it
you
up.
own the game.
Like Arceus, as an example, Pokemon Legends Arceus, it's $59.99 at Target. I just looked it up. Are you sure there wasn't like a sale or something? Like when you bought it, or was this when it first came out?
This might have been when it first came out, or maybe it was a sale that you can only get from a hard copy rather than digitally. I don't know. Maybe it was a
Well, yeah,
sale,
like if
but
there's a Best Buy or GameStop sale, but there's not a Nintendo shop sale, like that could be it.
yeah,
But that's why I'm like,
that
I'm trying
could
to
have been
think.
it. But
Well, when digital copies were coming up, that was one of the reasons you wanted to buy a digital copy was because it was cheaper. That was one
Yeah.
of the selling
really,
points of it. Yeah.
I don't know if that was the. I mean, I think it may have been, but I don't recall 100%. I mean, the biggest selling point was that you have access to your games anywhere without the use of a disc. You know that I feel.
yeah,
That's why I said it was
recall.
one of the
Sometimes that'd be
selling
more
points.
expensive.
I don't recall that being a selling point though, like personally, but maybe I just don't remember. You know.
I would
And
have to
also,
go
this
check it
this
out.
was
Like
when
this,
everyone was like, a hard copy, you actually own the game. Digital copy, you
yeah,
don't actually own it.
I think we're gonna have to fact check this because I swear on my fucking mom, I swear on my mom, I saw that it was like $10 cheaper
Bear's
as a
like,
hard
don't do
copy.
this to me.
I will die on
Please
this
don't
hill.
do this to
I
me.
will die on this fucking hill. I know what I saw. Fuck you guys.
I do want to mention it's like kind of funny you're talking about that, the whole like physical versus digital, because I actually think it's like I think it's acceptable to be $70, but what I was gonna say was towards the thing we talked about earlier with Donkey's publishing company. 80% of game copies now are digital. Only 20% market share is physical copies, somewhere around there. So I'm interested to see how like that publishing company shit goes. especially because it's like different. It's not like you have to worry about like distribution and shit like that. It's more like load that shit up to Steam, load that shit up to the shop, and you're good to go. So I think that's super interesting. But what I was gonna say in regards to the game prices is like I think $70 is like a perfectly reasonable amount to pay for a game. I don't know if I'm in the minority on that, but I think it's completely acceptable.
I think it makes sense. Like I think we were talking about this before. It's like this should have happened like 5-10 years ago. It was expected to happen 5 to 10 years ago.
It's not just that; it's also the fact that games have not increased in cost, not just 5 to 10 years ago, but overall. Because like back in the day when you used to buy games, the equivalent to like something, and like don't quote me on the game, but something like a Bard's Tale was like $100. That's how much it used to cost to buy a game. And at some point, it got streamlined on consoles and shit, where it was $60. And I'm talking about with inflation and shit like that, like accounting for that, the equivalent was $100. So like now, we've been paying $60 for games for over a decade, and the price never changed with inflation and all this different shit. And like for me, the way I see it is like I can go out to eat, and it's gonna be like $15 to $20, right? I could play one $20 game and get over 40 hours of content in a lot of $20 games, right? Or like simple multiplayer shit. I spend $10 and like the return on investment for me is like way higher than IRL experiences.
Okay, so you're saying food is just entertainment to you?
I was just giving an example.
Absolutely.
Entertainment's like way worse. If I want to go like to fucking pole position to go karting as an example, shit's like $30 for like an hour or like a couple, right? But then like I could go play fucking Final Fantasy VII Retrograde for $70. I'm gonna be playing that bitch for over 40. You know?
No. Like I said, I completely like. I think it's fine. I'm not against it at all. However, as a consumer,
the discrepancy.
Yeah, as a consumer and the quality that these developers and publishers have been giving us, nah, fuck you guys.
they better include the goddamn battle pass in there.
I honestly like I believe that half that shit is so like old timey thinking though. Like if the only time I think it's acceptable to release a game with a price tag on it is a single player fucking game. Like I wholeheartedly stand by that. Any multiplayer game, that shit should be free 99, bro. Like there's no way that any game that releases in 2022 and 2023 should have a price tag for multiplayer because it's proven that all the biggest games in the world have been free to play, and like, you get skins, and that pays
this entire industry is bigger than your game now.
Yeah,
it like the marketing and the social media behind it all is bigger than your game, and you have to have an understanding that when you're going to publish and sell your game.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter so much anymore about like selling copies. It's like if you just have a steady player base month over month who like is hardcore and like you have a little bit of growth, things like that. Mm-hmm. If your shop and your microtransactions are solid, you'll make way more money than you will selling the fucking game. If I sell my game for $60, or I could go ahead and make my game free and they buy one fucking Valorant bundle and they spent more than $60. Looking at you, Brandon. Brandon's paid for Valorant over like 10 times. He's paid for Valorant like 40 times, bro.
Is it worth it, Brandon? Has it been worth it for you? Answer.
Brandon has left the chat.
Has it been worth it, Brandon? Are those skins getting you to fucking Radiant?
Damn. What is happening? What are we doing here?
Yeah, what are you?
She's talking about episode 5?
What?
He said we're going to episode 5.
We're going to episode 5? Bad financial decisions?
That's how we're gonna open up next week. We're gonna talk about bad financial decisions in games.
That's perfect. Sean's gonna be on it.
Oh my god, yeah. So this is honestly though, this is actually where we'll end this week's episode.
Oh my god,
so
that is actually perfect.
Next week we'll have a guest and we'll actually talk about we'll talk more about the financials of esports, multiplayer games, and all that type of stuff. So if you have a particular topic or game you want us to talk about, feel free to leave a comment below or on some social media pages that are tagged below. And we'll see you guys in episode 5, right, Brandon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah!
We'll see you on episode 5. Peace out, guys.
Have a good one, guys.